Jesuit brothers, colleagues from the provincial Ateneos from Xavier University, Ateneo de Naga, Ateneo de Zamboanga, Ateneo de Davao, Loyola College, Culion, Ateneo de Iloilo, Ateneo de Cebu, our dear friends, batchmates, classmates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I don't know if you will believe me, but I prayed for fair weather today. I am an atmospheric scientist, but I also rely on the heavenly powers. When Junjun Capistrano of Intramuros told me that the Karawahe Father is now ready for your investiture, I said to myself, Karawahe? Carriage? Horse-drawn carriage? I hope our guests do not think this is a royal wedding. There is nothing conjugal about an investiture. And I am surely not being married to the Ateneo. I hope not. Like the President of the Philippines, my love life is 0. After 3 investitures in Davao, Naga, and Cagayan de Oro, people have been looking forward to this major mother of all investitures. After hearing the presidents of these Ateneos speak about the imperatives of our time, and they are there, Father Joel Tabora is our kuya, such as interfaith dialogue, social entrepreneurship, even climate change. These presidents have spoken about these topics. I've asked myself, what is there left to say? And Father Bill Kreutz, our rector here at the Jesuit residence, suggests that for my term here at the Ateneo de Manila, I should promise to fly you to the moon. If an investiture is not a wedding, and I cannot anyhow fly anyone to the moon, can we reflect instead on why we're doing what we're doing this evening? What on earth is an investiture anyway? Who is being invested here? What is being invested? And who is doing the investing? To invest, from the Latin investire, means literally to clothe, to robe someone with something. The first meaning, therefore, of this investiture points to myself as the one being robed in power, the one being vested with authority and rank, and you as the one investing me with power and authority and rank. In truth, and if I may speak from the heart this early, during these first few months, 100 days actually, the first 100 days of my tenure, you have been vesting me with other stuff too. You have been vesting me with your trust, your goodness, and support, even love. So many clothes, vestidos, actually. You know how that makes me feel? Warmer than I am warm now. Even smaller than I am small now. An investiture, however, is more than just about myself, your president. It is also a celebration of our reality as invested individuals. Thus, you may be robed in Filipiniana, or barong, or academic gown, but you are invested, you are vested with far more than your Filipiniana, or barong, or academic gown. Parents invest us with their trust. Our people invest us with their hope. God invests us with His love. We are invested persons. We have been endowed with life and learning and power. In this investiture, I would like to believe that it is not only the president that is being vested with power. We are all of us here vested with many powers. I can cite 3. Let us celebrate 3 powers. Tonight, let us celebrate our being vested with the power to become who we are, the power to build this nation, and the power to care for creation. Identity, nation, creation. 3 powers over 3 strategic concerns that I hope will focus our efforts in the coming years here at the Ateneo. Let us begin with the most macro of the 3, the power that covers the longest, widest range, the power to care for creation. A garden has been given to us in trust. We have been invested with a garden. It is, in business speak, one of our capital assets, an endowment. We did not create this garden ex nihilo, out of nothing. Even if we do discover the Higgs boson, and we will eventually get to a standard model of the universe someday, we will always be surrounded by the mystery of this garden just being here. It is beautiful, magnificent. It is cosmos. It sustains us who are made of stardust. It is also terrifying and wild and untamed. Mysteriously, we have the power to know and understand this garden. We have the power to change this garden, to care for or ruin this garden. Eugene Cermer and the Nobel laureate Paul Crutzen have labeled this geological age as the age not of the Holocene, but of the Anthropocene. We Homo sapiens, latecomers in evolution, have been using that power to change literally the face of the earth. In the last 150 years, mere seconds in geological time, for good or ill, we have harnessed matter and energy. We have mined buried treasures to fuel our development. We have tamed the terror of the elements. In that short span of time, however, we, not God, have become the force majeure, the greater force. We now have the power to displace the rain, to warm our oceans, to darken our skies, to amplify our storms. In our growing, we have begun to tax the carrying capacity of our lifelines as well. My dear friends, we cannot leave this garden the way it is now to our children. I propose 3 things we can do to exercise our power to care for creation. First, we need to manage the risk posed by development. This means knowing the total costs incurred in the development pathways we've taken. We have to plot the connection between development and environment. Then we have to look for ways to reduce our vulnerability or increase our resilience to these hazards. At some point, we have to move our people out of harm's way. Second, we need to draft the blueprints of a green, sustainable economy. This entails going beyond personal conversion to reforming the complex structures that drive unsustainable growth. We need to go beyond boutique, off-grid solutions. We have to design a new substrate that will support sustainability and mainstream clean alternative technology. As someone said, we need to plant forests, not trees. Third, our power to care for creation has to translate also to our responsibility for our campus. How can there be leisure and space for learning if we stress prime campus land with cars? We need to grow gardens if our minds are to solve problems. We need to make space for us to roam the mysteries. We need to create parks, not more parking. In the end, this power to care for creation is the power to care for the common good, to care for the greater good. To have been vested with this power is a privilege. With our Creator, we do have the power to work the earth and bring this garden to its ultimate goodness and completion. The second power we celebrate tonight is the power vested in us to build our nation. A nation has been given to us in trust. It was not served up on a plate, but even ransomed with the blood of heroes, our distinguished alumnus Jose Rizal being one of them. This nation was defended even to the point of death by those who saw all in this country that was worth dying for. Even if we are dismayed to see how fractious and misled we have been, how marooned our people feel in a country that has not given them good jobs and fair opportunity, we still find ourselves immersed in the mystery of our goodness, our resilience, our heroism, our capacity to endure adversity, and to believe still in a benevolent God. Despite our mendicancy, we can still care for one another, be hospitable and helpful to our own, even to the widow or orphan or stranger. We have been vested with the power to rebuild this nation or break it apart. The poverty that we see, that is not our helpless fate, nor is it God's dream for us. Our poverty is a tragic result of willful divestment. Instead of investing our country with our goodness, we have divested her of her wealth and capacity. More has gone out of our beloved Inang Bayan than has come in. We are poor because this divestment has been unrelenting. For far too long, we have allowed this nation, our nation, to be disrobed in humiliation. Poverty is a ravenous monster with many hearts. Pierce the heart of hunger or malnutrition now, and the monster still lives. Stab the heart of miseducation or undereducation, graduate them now with all sorts of high-sounding credentials, and the monster does not go away. Strike at the heart of unemployment, grow the economy, and the monster is only disabled momentarily. The economic gains are uneven. Political power concentrates upward, defying gravity, and our people remain impoverished. The monster continues to thrive in feudal arrangements that hinder democratic engagement, greater transparency, and accountability. Our people are still left wanting for a say in their future, a decent quality of life, protected by the law, in places to live worthy of their dignity. Poverty is a beast with many hearts to spare. You do not destroy this monster by goring its hearts one or two at a time. You slay this monster decisively by flanking it on all sides, lancing its hearts in parallel in concert with strategic, calculated, calibrated, and consistent thrusts to the hearts of hunger, ignorance, joblessness, injustice, conflict, and corruption. Who will initiate? Who will start this? Who will coordinate and inspire and orchestrate this plot to slay this monster? Leaders. Leaders. You. All of us here. Men and women who have been schooled to step up and take charge because they have been taught as well when to stand down and when to surrender their pride and ambition. Men and women here at the Ateneo, beyond the Ateneo, who have been taught to stand on a hill between earth and sky so that they can train their sights beyond themselves and look after the common good, the greater good. Whatever our societal engagement will be, whether this be in public education, health reform, local community building, enterprise development, or leader formation, I suggest 3 roles the university can play in nation building. We can be change catalysts, strategic thinkers, and culture shapers. As change catalysts, we serve society as facilitators rather than as the main actors of social development. While our primary and direct action will always be mainly in education, our institutional presence can help mobilize and converge the different actors in Philippine society. If our service in a community or institution is to be direct, it is always with a view to making social templates that can be replicated eventually and multiplied by others. As strategic thinkers, our place in higher education is to help society do some higher order thinking on the complex, culture-bound, non-linear drivers that prolong the collective burden of poverty and conflict. Understanding these, we can help propose incisive, systemic solutions that are hopefully effective and lasting. We who are in higher education cannot dismiss the long-range impact of national and global currents on our local communities. As culture shapers, our business is to change mindsets and convert lives. We cannot build what we do not love, and we cannot love what is not our own. We have an instrumental role then, as a school, to cultivate love of country. Love of country. We have to help our country learn to love itself again. Only by defining and strengthening our national identity will we be able to participate meaningfully in the global community. And this will demand expanding our notion of nation and nationalism in view of the Filipino diaspora. A nation has been given to us in trust. We have been vested with the power to build this nation again. Napapatanong ba kayo minsan, kung may katuturan ba ang maghain ng buhay sa kapwa Pilipino? Kapag nakikita natin ang paglalamangan, ang pagnanakawan dito sa ating lipunan, totoo pa ba ang damdamin tuwing inaawit natin sa dulo ng lupang hinirang na ikaliligaya natin na pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa iyo? Is the Filipino worth dying for? Ikamamatay ba natin ang bansang ito? Natatanaw pa ba natin ang nasilayan ng ating mga bayani? Sa taong ito ng sesquicentennial ng kapanganakan ni Jose Rizal, sana po mailuwal natin muli ang pag-asa para sa ating inang bayan. Sana matutunan po natin muli ang mahalin at ibangon ang ating inang bayan. The third and last power we are celebrating in this investiture is the one closest to us. It is the power to become who we are. Our lives have been given to us in trust. We did not create our lives ex nihilo. Even if we do succeed eventually in our own professions and become the self-made men and women we set out to become, we will always be surrounded by the mystery of our radical incompleteness and contingency. We are here, but we do not have to be here. We did not choose to be here. Even our departure, we will not choose. In truth, we are invested persons. We have been vested with life we did not earn or deserve. We merely hold this investment in trust. Mysteriously, even if we hold no entitlement to life in this universe, we have the power to become who we are. We have the power to work out the meaning of what we do. We can mean our identity and our mission. In humility and gratitude, we celebrate the excellence and expertise we have built over the years here at the Ateneo. We will continue to drive our academic disciplines to the top at the national and global level. We will always aim to be a first-rate school for leaders in the national and international community. But as members of an Ateneo that shares in the apostolic mission of the Society of Jesus, we need to ask ourselves every so often about the motive force that ultimately propels this drive for excellence. What is the excellence for? Who is the excellence for? In defining what it means to be of the Ateneo, our uniqueness or brand may not be always that readily visible in our choice of programs or in the way we teach our courses or do academic research or engage ourselves in social national outreach. We may discover commonality with many of the outstanding schools in the world. Our identity and mission will be found ultimately in the realm of interiority and inspiration. The Ateneo way is more than just a way of schooling you to become proficient and successful and wealthy in the professional world. Yes, you will be stretched here to hone your talents, to deepen your knowledge, to develop your character. But the Ateneo way is more than just a matter of education and excellence. And here at the Ateneo, we will dare you to discover a larger vision of yourselves in our world. We will challenge you to dream of the greater things, to always do the greater thing, because we know you are more than what the great givers of this world make you out to be. We do this because the Ateneo is more than just a school. The Ateneo is a mission we share in Christ, who we believe sends us to change the world for the better, and that includes reshaping our very selves to be always ready to offer our lives for others. The Ateneo way is a way of oblation, iconized by a small man named Ignatius Loyola, who bent his knees and his life for the greater glory of God. So you can see that the Ateneo way, is more than just a brand or a brag. It defines who we are, what and who we live for, what and who we are willing to die for. No triumphalism here, no yabang. Just an acknowledgement of all that we have been endowed with. Just a recognition of this defining legacy from Loyola, which continues to drive our academic and apostolic energy. And through this legacy and passion, the Ateneo collocates itself with the Society of Jesus to be there at the crossroads between church and world, faith and justice, development and poverty, and other such polar realities that mark our world today. It is at the interface of these realities, at the interface, where we find our element. There at the interface, where we learn to dialogue with others in respect of pluralism and in appreciation of the rich diversity and autonomy of human culture and reason. It is also there at such interfaces between earth and sky, where we meet our God, whose face we discern in those who live at the margins of wealth and power. In the end, we draw who we are and what we do from the inspiration of Ignatius Loyola, who taught us that love never settles for what is merely good. From Loyola, we have learned great-heartedness, a big heart. And so that with boldness of heart, we can dare the Lord to take and receive all our liberty, our memory, understanding, our entire will, all that we hold dear and all that we have been vested with. And thus have we found this grace and this new power to give without counting the cost, to fight without heeding the wounds, and so to serve as the Lord deserves. In closing, I leave you with this picture taken by Joey Nakalaban in Agora, a marketplace in Cagayan de Oro. I have used this image to describe our mission of education. Alam niyo po kung ano ako dyan? Ang sabi ko, ang Pangulo, ang gulong. Ang administrador, ang gulong. The tire. Father Rudy Fernandez of the Society of Jesus, not the actor, okay, tells me that we should hang this picture everywhere to remind us that we are not a nation of crabs, mga alimango, pulling each other down, and that we can and should always be pulling each other up. Dear friends, let us celebrate and be grateful we find ourselves on the flatbed of this truck of life. I hope this investiture can be a time of grace when we can confirm one another, when we can reignite our heroic desires and renew our commitment to serve God and His people. I thank you who have vested me today with all your warmth and trust and goodness and love. Thank you truly. for investing me, for investing your time and presence and benefaction in the Ateneo. We cannot end without acknowledging the many vested persons and investors in this investiture. And I'd like to acknowledge, we could not all fit in this small room, so I'd like to acknowledge right now the audience at the Blue Eagle Gym. They are also there listening to us today. We are also doing a webcast at our Ortigas campus for the Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health. They are also